This is a presentation of Fox Sports.
Have the Braves right where they want them. Houston may be facing elimination, but the Braves are facing what could be a tougher task, getting a win at home. Hi, everyone. Welcome inside the Fox Network Center. I'm Jeannie Velasco along with Kevin Kennedy. The road to the World Series goes through Fox Sports, your exclusive home for the entire postseason. The road, a tough place to be, facing elimination, but the Astros can take this to heart, Kevin. They do have the best road record in the National League, for what it's worth.
Well, that's worth a lot. They're going to need a couple of victories in Atlanta. But the problem is the Houston Astros historically against the Braves in the playoffs, they haven't hit. They were number 2 in the National League in batting average, let's face it. But the Killer Bees are not doing the job again, except for Bagwell. He's hitting 600. But Biggio, Berkman, and Alou, look at this, 3 for 24 combined. That will not get it done. And particularly Berkman and Alou, they're tied for number 3 in the National League in overall hitting. And I've seen this before with young hitters, especially like Lance Berkman in the playoffs. They have problems. They get out of their zone. They chase bad pitches. Things that they didn't do normally in the regular season, they'll do in the playoffs. That's nervousness.
Talk about Atlanta. The past few trips to the postseason, that bullpen has been a big question mark. This year they have a secret weapon.
Oh, they got a secret weapon, a guy that's not nervous, and that's John Smoltz. He became their closer this year, saving 10 out of 11 games in his closing appearances. And in Game 1 of the playoffs, look at this, 97 fastball. He closes out Game 1, Game 2. Same thing. Good sinker right there for a 3-6-3 double play. He's done an outstanding job as a closer.
I always felt like this would be a role suited for me if given the opportunity. And it's a definite rush that a starting role doesn't really give you the ability to have. I mean, you're coming in a lot fresher pitching in the 9th inning than if you're starting and you're on the downward trend trying to finish a game that you've already started. So it's a totally different way to train and get ready for a game.
And the thing John told me is his arm has really rebounded very well. He's able to come back day after day, throw 97 miles an hour. With the off day and the travel day, he'll be fresh and ready to go to try to save it for John Burkett tonight.
And Smoltz hoping to lead the Braves back to the NLCS after a 1-year hiatus. But after 8 straight losing seasons, Tom Kelly led the Twins to a second-place finish in the AL Central. And that seemed like a good enough time as any for him to call it a career in Minnesota. After 16 seasons at the helm, the longest-tenured manager in all of sports, made it official today. The 51-year-old led the Twins to a pair of World Series titles in '87 and '91 and schooled a bunch of kids this season to the Twins' best record since '92.
It's just been a fantastic ride for me, and I just feel right now it's a good time for me to step aside and let somebody else take over. They gave me a chance in '87 through the year 2001. That's pretty damn good.
Yes, it is. For the record, his contract had expired. He said 2002 he won't be managing for any club, but he left the door wide open.
Well, he may come back. You never know. You know, I got a chance to manage against Tom Kelly for 4 years, and I'll give him this. With the least amount of talent, he got the most out of it. He's one of those old-school guys who would make his pitchers do fielding practice before the game. Played pepper. Remember that term, pepper, where the hitters choke up on the bat and have that little game with the pitchers? No. I mean, this is the old days, right? And Tom Kelly got the most out of these guys, got this team together as 25. I'll give him a lot of credit.
I'm teasing. I am that old. 2001 marked the end of Kelly's reign. Will the same be true for the Yankees? Art Howe warned New York that they would need a great effort just to have a shot at beating his A's. Was anybody listening? The Yankees should have posted it on every bulletin board in the Bronx. And Kevin, I think they are listening now. Expect to see a different Yankees team in Oakland?
I hope they make some adjustments. I said it last night. They had 14 ground ball outs last night against Tim Hudson, and this guy was throwing that sinker. And you've got to make adjustments on low ball pitchers, and the Yankees did not do that. Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams. I mean, those are pretty good sinkers right there, but you got to get through the ball. You got to use your legs. You can't hit on top of a low ball pitcher, and that's exactly what the Yankees did, except for Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter was the one guy in this whole series that's done very well. Look at the legs right there and the hands inside the baseball. You've got to go down before you transfer your weight forward. What I mean, you got to break down that back leg to get through the low ball and hit that ball with backspin. That's what Jeter did. Just put Knobloch at second base, but then O'Neill came up after that and pops out.
All right, it's not all bad Yankees.
No,
I mean, the A's have been pretty good.
Absolutely. You got to give these guys credit. Mark Mulder, a great job in his ball game. Good slider, good sinker. Hudson, phenomenal last night. Barry Zito in Game 3. This guy has a great overhand curveball. And Corey Lytle, according to Art Howe, is going to pitch Game 4 no matter what happens because he deserves it, according to Art Howe. And with his numbers, he does. Low earned run average. Did a great job this year. Everybody has been issuing a warning this week, so I have one as well. The Major League Baseball postseason has just one home, and you know what that means. You can watch the tourney unfold on one place, only on the Fox networks. Well, take a look here at our National League right here. Atlanta up 2-0 today. It's Burkett's ball game. And then later tonight, it's going to be St. Louis and Arizona. And Batista for Arizona will be interesting, Jeannie. As you mentioned before, he was in relief the other day. And today he's going to start. But Bob Brenly says, hey, I've done that before. No problem. Batista's a young guy that got into the rotation because of that 95 fastball. All right, as Craig Biggio goes in search of some divine intervention, we're going to go ahead and take a break. Somebody upstairs has to like us, the second baseman asks. Bagwell concurs. We're not bad people. We live right. What do we have to do? If the Astros don't find an answer, they'll have 4 months off, and they'll have the 4th division title in 5 years with nothing to show for it in October. Being released by Tampa Bay, now it's the Astros who may be picking up the clubs and riding off into the sunset. By the way, Bobby Cox will be present and accounted for when his Braves take the field today. He spotted detour Thursday to visit his ailing sister, but his club has a new mission: get their skipper some time off to be with his family. A swoop today means the boss won't need to be back at the office until the NLCS gets underway Tuesday. So, can Burkett get it done? Well, I'll tell you what, he's going to face a guy that has similar stuff to him. John Burkett and Shane Reynolds, very even matchup with these two guys, very similar type numbers. Control pitchers, both of them, ground ball pitchers. Shane Reynolds is a veteran of the Astros staff now. He has won a playoff game a couple of years ago against the Atlanta Braves. So he's used to this situation. He's been through it before. He's got to get some good defense behind him to win today because the Braves are taking advantage of Houston errors. John Burkett, an all-star this year, has kind of fit into that rotation this year following Maddox and Glavine. John Burkett is a sinker ball, curveball, slider pitcher, great control. He's always around the plate. The zone has been expanded. We've seen that with these umpires in this series. So if you can paint the outside corner, you're going to be able to go outside and get a little bit more because the umpires are definitely giving the pitchers the advantage right now. Yeah, expanded is a good word. The Astros, by the way, making one change in the lineup. Julio Lugo out at short, Jose Vizcaíno in. Larry Dierker saying it has nothing to do with the defensive liabilities. No, it's because Vizcaíno, he says, has hit better against the pitcher he's facing today, John Burkett. But let's face it, the turning point of this series has been the poor Astros defense up the middle. Lugo right here in the 8th inning of Game 1. Boots a ground ball double play. Should have been out of the inning. Instead, they got to bring Billy Wagner in the tie game 3-3 to face Chipper Jones, a 3-run home run. Game 1 is over. Game 2, same thing early. First inning, he makes an error. He's nervous. He's feeling the ball okay, but throwing a lot of balls away. That didn't cost him a run, but in the second inning, this would, because he feels the ball, then throws it away to Bagwell. This would allow Surhoff to go to third, and later on, he would score. Julio Lugo has made 3 errors in this ball game in this series so far, and it's really cost the Houston Astros. Now, let's take a look at game notes. Houston 0-6 when facing elimination in the playoffs. Shane Reynolds, 5-1, good earned run average his last 9 starts. Right here, Bagwell has got to carry the load against John Burkett. The Atlanta Braves 8-1 against the Houston Astros in postseason. And right here, Chipper Jones is a guy that hits well against Shane Reynolds. So look for those two guys offensively today against these two pitchers. Now, dire straits right here. Only 2 teams have come back from an 0-2 deficit in the division series. 95 Mariners, 99 Red Sox. This Houston Astros ball club is neither one of those 2 teams. No team has come back after losing the first 2 games at home. So this is a very difficult situation for the Houston Astros. Larry Dierker saying, hey, we'll go do the best we can. We'll see what happens today if Shane Reynolds can come up big. Larry Dierker hoping it's not his last game. That's going to do it for us. The journey will continue in Atlanta, of course, on the Fox network. That gets our day underway. This, of course, the elimination game. And then just a little bit later on the Fox Family Channel, Game 3 between Arizona and St. Louis. That series tied at 1 apiece. Of course, the series has now shifted to St. Louis. That's it.
Wednesday on
Welcome to Atlanta, Georgia, at Turner Field, home of the Atlanta Braves, who have won the first two games in this National League Division Series, 7-4 and 1-0 at Enron Field in Houston. Today they're back home looking for a sweep. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mel Proctor, along with Rod Allen. The Braves are up 2-0 in this series. Never before has a team dropped the first two games at home and come back to win the series in either the National League Division Series or the NLCS. And Rod, that's a challenge facing the Astros today. What do they have to do to win?
Well, they've got to get some guys on base. They have not been able to do that. The Braves, for the most part, have been able to manhandle this Houston Astros team. Houston, a very good offensive team, but they're struggling right now. If they score first in this game, it will allow them to relax a lot like Seattle was able to do against their game at home last night against Cleveland.
Well, the Atlanta Braves won their 10th straight divisional title this year. They did it without most of their infield. They opened with Rico Brogni at first base, Kilvio Veras at second, Rafael Furcal was short. They're all gone, so some other guys had to step up, and one of them was second baseman Marcus Giles.
Well, this is the time of year where you've got to get production out of guys you really weren't counting on from getting that kind of production, and Marcus Giles has done that. When he gets on first base, he knows that a Lewin right field has to play very deep, respecting the power of Chipper Jones. He gets a great jump on a bloop single, able to get over to third base. He later came on to score on a sac fly of Brian Jordan. And then a great base hit right here by him, driving in a key run. And defensively, he's also gotten it done. A dazzling play up the middle. He dove here to take a hit away from Craig Biggio. So Giles has just gotten it done from an offensive standpoint and defensively.
You know, Rod, this Atlanta Braves team may not be as strong as some in the past, but they still have great pitching. Greg Maddux was strong in Game 1. Tom Glavine pitched one of the best games he's ever thrown in Game 2. Today, it's veteran John Burkett.
Well, John Burkett, he's a lot like Greg Maddux. He's very, very stingy in the strike zone. He is going to test the patience of the Houston Astros team. He will not give in to him. He will elevate the fastball occasionally, but for the most part, you're going to get soft stuff, softer stuff, and then softer stuff. That's the way Burkett pitches.
Well, the Astros have to win today or they will be eliminated. They turn to a big game pitcher, Shane Reynolds. Reynolds, who has the last postseason win by an Astros pitcher in Game 1 of the Division Series against the Braves in 1999.
Well, Shane Reynolds pitched the final day of the season against the St. Louis Cardinals, a game in which Houston won, which won the division for them. But this game is much bigger. Without a win by Houston today, Houston's season is over.
Back with Game 3 from Atlanta in a moment. Tomahawk chop as they send John Burkett to the mound to face the Houston Astros today. And the Astros batting order against him, Craig Biggio, the second baseman, will lead off. Jose Vizcaíno replaces Julio Lugo, who's committed 3 errors in the series at shortstop. Jeff Bagwell at first base. Lance Berkman at left. Moises Alou in right. Those two guys both hit Burkett well. Vinny Castilla, another power threat at third base. Richard Hidalgo in center field. Tony Eusebio catching today. And the pitcher, Shane Reynolds, batting ninth. So the two guys that Burkett is wary of are Bagwell and Alou, both hitting over 400 against him. John Burkett, age 36, the oldest Braves pitcher to make a postseason start since Phil Niekro at the age of 43 in the 1982 NLCS against St. Louis Riders. Craig Biggio leading off. Biggio has had a history of struggling in the postseason, off to a 1-for-8 start through the first 2 games in this series.
Well, Burkett won 12 games this season for Atlanta, but he could have won a lot more games than that. In 34 of his starts, they scored 2 runs or less for him in 14 times.
0-2 to Craig Biggio, who bounced back from off-season reconstructive knee surgery to have a fine year. They put him into the leadoff spot in May. He hit .292, 20 homers, 70 runs batted in. Burkett 13-6 lifetime against the Astros. His only start against them this year here in Atlanta. He had a no decision, going 5 2/3 innings. John Burkett, a journeyman pitcher who first came up with the Giants back in 1987. Won 22 games for them in 1993 and then bounced around to Florida, Texas. Now in his 3rd year with the Braves. He was on the verge of quitting after he was let go by Tampa Bay a couple of years ago. But there's something about a pitcher coming to this staff with Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine and the pitching coach Leo Mazzoni that seems to revive a guy.
Well, it was in Venezuela in spring training a couple of seasons ago when Larry Rothschild had a conversation with Bobby Cox and also John Sherholtz, and he told him that he was going to release John Burkett. And the Braves, because he had pitched so well against him in Venezuela, they said, well, John Smoltz is hurt. He's going to be lost for the season. Burkett's a guy that we can slot in that number 5 slot in our rotation, and he can help us win some games. And that's exactly what he's done the last couple of years. Great pickup by the Braves, but John Sherholt's known for making great decisions during the course of the season.
Fastball just outside, 2-2. John Burkett said he's really benefited by coming here. Not so much that he's talking to Maddox and Glavine every day, but he has a chance to watch them pitch on a regular basis. And if he does have a question, he can go to one of them and ask. And they're always sitting around the clubhouse talking about pitching. So that has helped him, just the fact that he's here with those great pitchers.
Well, he's had a great year. 187 strikeouts for Burkett and 219 innings pitched. And he's not a power pitcher.
Strike 3. Craig Biggio not happy with that call by Larry Young. Defensively for the Atlanta Braves this afternoon behind John Burkett. Chipper Jones at third base. Ray Sanchez, acquired from Kansas City, playing terrific shortstop. Marcus Giles at second. Julio Franco, rescued from the Mexican League, doing a decent job at first base as well as hitting. An outfield of B.J. Surhoff, Gold Glover Andrew Jones, and Brian Jordan, with the backup catcher Paul Bacco behind the plate. Javi Lopez is still out of action with a high ankle strain. They hope they might have him back for the next series if the Braves get that far. Well, Julio Lugo has had his problems at shortstop in the first two games.
Take a look at this last pitch right here on the inside part of the plate to Biggio. It's a cut fastball. Biggio looking for something out of the plate, and he's frozen by the cutter on the inside. That's what Burkett will do to you.
Ground ball to short. Sanchez over to first to retire Vizcaino. Vizcaino in there for a couple of reasons. Julio Lugo has committed 3 errors, and Vizcaino has good numbers against John Burkett.
Well, Vizcaino committed 14 errors during the regular season, and Julio Lugo's really struggled the first 2 games in Houston. You mentioned the 3 errors offensively. He really hasn't gotten the job done, and it's the best move for Houston to get Vizcaino, the veteran, in there.
Well, Jeff Bagwell, who has good numbers against John Burkett coming up, hitting .451 against him. 23 hits and 51 at-bats with a home run. Cut fastball a little low.
Who doesn't Jeff Bagwell have good numbers against? He can flat out hit.
His batting average down somewhat this year, but the power and RBI is still there. Breaking ball low, 2-0. John Burkett said one of the things that's contributed to his success this year is the use of the cut fastball and the curveball. So for over about the last 3 or 4 years, he's experimented with a lot of different pitches, but those two have been really good for him this year. A little high. 3-1.
Well, Bagwell has that wide open stance. He doesn't stride with his lead foot. He just picks it up and puts it back down once he's gotten ready to swing the bat. And that's key for him, because if he comes out of that crouch, the eye level changes, which means you don't see the baseball as clearly as you should, and you're not going to get a good swing at it.
And John Burkett gives up a 2-out walk to Bagwell. That'll bring up Lance Berkman. Berkman, who has struggled so far in postseason, through the first 2 games, just 1 for 8.
Very apparent that Bagwell is the guy in the Houston lineup that Atlanta's going to stay away from. That's his 4th base on balls here in the division series. And he's really been the only Houston hitter that has had patience against the Atlanta pitchers, Maddox and Glavine, and now Burkett today. They never give in to the strike zone.
And Jeff Bagwell has now walked in the first inning in all 3 games in this series. The switch hitting Lance Berkman up. Berkman, who had a terrific year, hitting .331 with 34 homers, 126 RBIs, but really struggled in the last 2 months of the season. He only hit 5 home runs in August and September, and has just 1 hit and 8 at-bats in this series.
Well, one thing he's going to have to do, he's going to have to drive the ball in the left field, because the pitchers that he has faced in this series, they have stayed on the outside part of the plate, and he really has not tried to take the ball the other way. He's been very aggressive up there, and he's tried to pull a lot of things. He's made a lot of outs. He's got some hittable pitches, but you've got to show this Braves team that you will go the other way, or they'll never come into your strength.
Berkman with 34 home runs, 32 came batting left-handed, only 2 from the right side.
You know, some people at home may be saying, well, why is he throwing over to first base with the first baseman occupying that base? But Bagwell, one of only 2 first basemen in the history of the game to hit more than 30 home runs and steal more than 30 bases in a season.
Off-speed pitch, swung on and missed. This year, Bagwell has 11 steals. He's been caught 3 times. Paul Bacco is behind the plate today for the Braves, a backup catcher. They lost Eddie Perez for the year. Javi Lopez is out. So Bacco the backup there, but he is a good defensive catcher. Catches the ball well, has a strong arm. Into right field, and a base hit for Berkman. Bagwell will stop at second. Well, the Astros trying to get it going with 2 outs, and that'll bring up Moises Alou, another guy who has hit John Burkett well over the years.
We talked about Berkman not getting anything on the inner half of the plate, therefore he has not had a lot of success, but there he gets the pitch on the inside and drives the ball in the right field. That's when Berkman's at his best.
Oh, Moises Alou up with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Alou with 1 hit in 8 at-bats in the series, but against John Burkett hitting .435 with 2 home runs.
Well, very important for Houston to try to put a run on the board here in the first inning. They want to win the first inning here. It will be key for them. It will allow them to relax. You saw that Seattle game last night where they scored 4 runs in the first inning against Chuck Finley.
And the first pitch down and away to Alou. John Burkett, knowing the history of Moises Alou, he loves first pitch fastballs. Last year on the first pitch he hit over 400. Fastball for a strike. Alou thought it was low.
Well, one of the things about Alou is the fact that as a pitcher, you think after you throw him some soft stuff during the course of a game, you can come back and challenge him with a fastball later on, but he is always looking for his fastball. He is a good fastball hitter.
Ground ball back to Burkett. A little cut fastball takes care of Alou, and that's all for the Astros as they have runners at first and second. 2-0, the Houston Astros turn to veteran right-hander Shane Reynolds, who has the last postseason victory in Game 1 of the '99 series, winning 6-1 over the Braves. Take a look at the batting order for Atlanta against him. Marcus Giles leading off, playing second base. Julio Franco at first base. Chipper Jones at third base. Brian Jordan in right field. B.J. Surhoff in left. Andrew Jones in center field. Ray Sanchez at shortstop hitting 7th. Catcher Paul Bacco batting 8th. And John Burkett pitching and hitting 9th. Well, Shane Reynolds pitched a very strong game his last time out Sunday against the St. Louis Cardinals as Houston clinched the Central Division. Pitched 7 innings, allowing just 1 run. And Rod, you and I talked to a couple of scouts. They said that he was throwing a lot of split-fingered fastballs, more than he ever has, probably.
Well, that's what Reynolds will do. Once he's gotten ahead of you, that's the pitch that he likes to go to. He's also got a good fastball that gets up to 89, a slider, and a curveball, and a changeup. He's got 5 quality pitches.
Marcus Giles takes the first pitch for a strike. Giles has had a good series with 3 hits in 7 at-bats and has scored twice. Two finesse pitchers today, 2 guys who will try to stay out of the middle of the plate, work both corners. Reynolds 5-1 over his last 9 starts with a 2.85 earned run average. Ground ball to the second baseman, Craig Biggio. Defensively for the Houston Astros, Vinny Castilla, who was picked up early in the year, after being let go by Tampa Bay, doing a good job at third. Vizcaíno takes over for Lugo at short. Biggio solid at second, Bagwell at first. Berkman, Hidalgo, and Alou in the outfield, and the backup catcher, Tony Eusebio, behind the plate today. Brad Ausmus's caught the first 2 games. Julio Franco steps in to face Shane Reynolds. This guy is quite a story. Been around for a long time. Had some great years in the major leagues. Wound up playing in Japan, in Korea. And the Braves, needing a first baseman, went down and found him playing in Mexico for the Mexico City Tigers. Nobody really knows how old he is. Somewhere between probably 40 and 43, but it doesn't matter because he can still hit.
And that's exactly what Bobby Cox said. He said he could be 50 years old. He's really solidified that first base position for them. And he's also given them some quality at-bats in that number 2 hole. I mean, which is very, very valuable. You need a guy that you can hit and run with, a guy you can sacrifice with, and a guy who can take some pitches.
Fly ball into center field, and playable for Richard Hidalgo. Oh, 2 down. That'll bring up the number 3 hitter, third baseman Chipper Jones. They had a key home run in the first game of the series off reliever Billy Wagner to put the Braves in front 6-3, and they went on to win that game 7-4. Chipper having another exceptional year. 38 homers, 102 runs batted in, .330 batting average. They brought Billy Wagner in to face him because Chipper does not have as much power from the right side as he does from the left, and Wagner had a lot of success against him. Chipper was 0 for 8 with 6 strikeouts against Billy Wagner, but he hit his first pitch for a home run. So much for stats.
Chipper's a good fastball hitter. He knew Wagner was going to challenge him with the fastball. Wagner missed out over the plate, and Chipper, as he has done so much throughout his career, played long ball.
And a bloop headed into left center field. A 2-out single for Chipper Jones. And that'll get Brian Jordan to the plate.
That's one of the things that makes Chipper so good. If you throw him a fastball, he can turn it around. If you throw him some soft stuff, he stays back long enough just to loft the ball into the outfield.
And that brings up Brian Jordan, a guy who has a terrific history in postseason play.
And you can look at pitch by pitch, staying out of the strike zone, then a soft breaking ball. Chipper stays back on it very nice. Out front just a little bit, but he kept the hands back, which allowed him to still generate a little bit of bat speed.
Brian Jordan up with Chipper Jones at first, and Jordan hits the first pitch foul. He hit a home run off Wade Miller of Houston, the first game of the series. But what a history in postseason for this guy. And 40 career divisional series games coming into this series. He was hitting .400. A guy who likes to be up there with a game on the line. Former football player who plays baseball with that kind of intensity.
He competes, that is for sure.
Deflected by Reynolds to Biggio. And Jordan is retired 1-4-3 to end the inning. You're watching exclusive coverage of the Major League Baseball playoffs on Fox Sports. Fox Sports is the home of the 2001 World Series.
You by the Intel Pentium 4 processor, the center of your digital world. And by Nissan. Nissan introduces the totally new V6 Ultima, the cure for the common car.
Mel Proctor, Rod Allen back at Turner Field in Atlanta. One thing the Astros have going for them coming into this game, Rod, is the fact that they were the best road team in the National League this year. They went 49-32 on the road, and the Braves struggled at home. The Braves this year were 40-41 at home, the first losing season they've had at home since 1990.
Well, one of the things Houston's going to have to do, they're going to have to try to score a couple of runs very early because right now they're a little tense. They're not relaxed out there. They're not playing the way that they played during the regular season, but most teams don't. I mean, the playoffs are just what they are, very, very tense.
Vinny Castilla goes after the first pitch, and Chipper Jones throws him out. One down. That'll bring up Richard Hidalgo, the center fielder, who had a very disappointing season. Hidalgo saw his batting average drop 39 points, his home runs dropped by 25, and his RBIs by 42. Ball one.
Well, they really didn't miss the production from Hidalgo because they had outstanding years by Lance Berkman and also Vinny Castilla.
Popped in the air down the right field line. Giles Franco giving chase. Marcus Giles makes the play.
Marcus Giles has just been everywhere. It's a tough play for Franco. Jordan's not going to get there. Giles the only one that can make this play, and he's calling Franco off. It's a nice play there and the easiest play for Marcus Giles.
Giles, who has starred so far, and makes another fine play. And here's Tony Eusebio, the backup catcher in the lineup today. Partially because he has pretty good numbers against John Burkett. He's 3 for 11 with a home run off of it. A good hitter who's always hit well, especially against left-handed pitching. This year he hit .252 with 5 homers. Two and one. And he's usually behind the plate when Shane Reynolds pitches. Into right center field, and that's in there for extra bases. Tony Eusebio into second base with a 2-out double. All 3 hits so far in this game have been with 2 outs.
The first at-bat by Eusebio in this series, but he works himself into a very good hitter's count, 2-1. He makes Burkett get the ball up in the strike zone, does not try to do too much with it, basically just taking what Burkett's giving him, driving the ball into the gap the opposite way.
And Burkett with a chance to get out of this if he can get Shane Reynolds, who's not much of a hitter. 4 for 52 on the year, and gets one in the air to left field. B.J. Surhoff for the 3rd out, and the Astros leave a runner in scoring position. Bottom of the 2nd coming up, no score from Atlanta.
By Pepsid Complete, just one and heartburn's done. And by Labor Ready, dependable temporary labor, guaranteed.
Back at Turner Field in Atlanta, the Braves and the Astros meeting in Game 3 of this series. And tonight, Game 3 in St. Louis will be Arizona against the Cardinals. You'll see that game on Fox. Last night, the Yankees lost again to Oakland at Yankee Stadium. Tim Hudson and Jason Isringhausen combining on a shutout, and the A's go home now up 2-0. Cleveland and Seattle are tied 1-1 as the Mariners won last night behind the strong pitching of Jamie Moyer. And as we mentioned, St. Louis and Arizona coming up on Fox later today. That series tied 1-1.
It's been some great pitching so far in the division series from several pitchers.
That Arizona Cardinal game will be on Fox Family. B.J. Surhoff takes a strike leading off the 2nd inning. Surhoff and Andrew Jones, along with Ray Sanchez, coming up in the 2nd. In Game 2 of the series, they combined to go 5 for 7, did Surhoff and Jones. One ball and 1 strike to B.J. So he had kind of a disappointing year. He only drove in 58 runs this year, his lowest RBI total in a full year since 1989. But he had some key hits down the stretch to help the Braves once again get into the postseason. Into right field. Moises Alou. Well, as he mentioned, coming up tonight on Fox Family, it's the pivotal Game 3 of the division series with Luis Gonzalez and the Diamondbacks taking on the Cardinals. Both teams looking to move 1 game away from advancing to the NLCS. And that is presented by Budweiser. Miguel Batista takes the mound against Darryl Kyle, the curveball specialist for the Cardinals. That's tonight on Fox Family at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. Brought to you by Budweiser. Andrew Jones, who had 5 consecutive hits through the first 2 games before they finally got him out. He's 5 for 8. Guy who struggled with his average most of the season, but still hit 34 homers and drove in 104 runs. And a strike. I talked with Braves hitting coach Merv Rettenman about the approach the Braves need to take against Shane Reynolds. And Merv said his best pitch is the splitter. Try to lay off the splitter early in the count. Look for pitches up and away and try to hit them to the opposite field. Slowly hit up the third baseline. Castilla. 2 outs. I mean, that sounds good, but it's easier said than done, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because when you go choose the plate against a guy like Reynolds, you're thinking about the split-fingered fastball, but you're also trying to get something early in the count to hit. He'll challenge you with a fastball early. If you're ready for that fastball, if it's in your location, that's the pitch you've got to go after, because no one wants to hit that split-fingered fastball. And to be honest with you, you really can't hit it if he's locating the ball down in the strike zone the way he has done the majority of his career.
Brave shortstop Ray Sanchez up for the first time. Looking for his first postseason hit. Sanchez was acquired in a 3-way trade from Kansas City. In on the fist and fouled off. He's done an excellent job at shortstop. In fact, Manager Bobby Cox was telling us before the game he's probably played the best shortstop the Braves have seen since Rafael Belliard was here. Got great hands.
Well, Bobby Cox said he's the best shortstop he's ever seen.
Hasn't hit quite as well since coming over to this league. He hit his .227 with Atlanta after hitting .303 in Kansas City. Breaking ball for a strike, 0-2.
You know, Cox says the only other shortstop that he would compare him to is the Wizards, Ozzie Smith. But, of course, Wizard was an acrobatic-type shortstop with much more range than Sanchez. But what Sanchez is able to get his glove on, he catches and has a very accurate throwing arm across the diamond.
And he hits this one to deep left field over the head of Lance Berkman. Sanchez heading for second base. And still another two-out hit. He's had 4 hits in this game so far, and all 4 have been with 2 outs.
Well, Reynolds would probably like to have this 0-2 pitch back. That's the way Reynolds pitches. When he got you 2 strikes, he thinks he can come inside on you. He tried to do that to Sanchez, and Sanchez put a good swing on the ball. This ball is on the inside part of the plate. Just a very nice swing by Sanchez, just trying to put the ball in play. And he found a gap out there in left field.
Well, the Braves trying to take the lead with the catcher Paul Bacco up. First base open, so Reynolds does not have to give in to him. He could pitch around him to get to John Burkett, who's not much of a hitter. Strike 1. Bacco, a .212 hitter on the year with 2 home runs. Merv Redmond said that Bacco's not a real pretty hitter to watch. He has some ugly swings, but he makes contact. He puts the ball in play, and he's had some hits. One and one.
Well, if you're Bacco in this situation with Burkett, the pitcher, on deck, you may want to expand your strike zone just a little bit. Shane Reynolds is a veteran pitcher out there. He is not going to make a mistake over the plate. Therefore, if it's a little up or a little in or a little out, you may want to take a swing at it to try to drive that run in, because Reynolds really doesn't care if he walks you in this situation.
That might have been the one he should have swung at right there.
What's he looking for? But at times, the catcher or anybody that's batting eighth, they'll be thinking along those same lines, and then they freeze on the fastball or when they get a good pitch.
And the last place you expect to see a pitch in this situation is right down the middle. You could see a splitter here.
A lot of managers would just walk Bacco in this situation with the base open, but Larry Dierker has a lot of confidence in Reynolds out there that he's not going to make a mistake. And if he's able to get the third out, then you've got the pitcher leading off the third inning.
How about that? He hits it to deep right field, way back there. That's gone. Can you believe it? And the Braves take the lead on a 2-run homer by Paul Bacco, who hit his 2 home runs during the regular season. So Reynolds pitched to Bacco, and he got hurt. They could have pitched around him. They didn't. And the Braves paid the price.
Well, that's one Larry Dierker will be thinking about the remainder of this game, having enough confidence in his veteran pitcher out there, Reynolds, not to give him something good to hit. He challenged him right over the heart of the plate with 2 strikes, and it cost him.
Well, that is hard to understand. A tapper back toward the mound. Reynolds has it and throws out John Burkett. But Paul Bacco hits a 1-2 pitch over the right field wall to give Atlanta the lead.
To make a mistake to the number 8 hitter with a runner on second. You've got 2 outs. You've got the pitcher in the on-deck circle, but that's exactly what he does here. Bacco, his first at-bat ever against Shane Reynolds, gets a fastball right down the middle. Very short, very compact swing, drives the ball out of the ballpark. To make this swing happen, though, you've got to have the great stride here. You've got to keep your head still. The firm front side gets right here. And what a swing by Bacco.
And Paul Bacco, a former Houston Astro, is with the Astros in 1999 and 2000 before being traded. Gives Atlanta the lead. Strike one to Craig Biggio, leading off the third for Houston. He struck out his first time up. So Larry Durker and Shane Reynolds made the decision to pitch to Bacco. They could have pitched around him, or they could have just walked in and got to John Burkett, who's not a good hitter. Burkett is an 0.92 hitter. He's a better bowler than he is a hitter. But they pitched to Bacco. Far too good a pitch on 1 and 2. Biggio lines a base hit to center. The third Houston hit off John Burkett. Mentioned Burkett is a bowler. He has 10 perfect games to his credit, and a .225 average as a bowler compared to an .092 batting average as a hitter. Jose Vizcaino up for the second time. Grounded to short his first time up. Craig Biggio at first. Does not run as much as he used to. And a gapper into right center field. Brian Jordan with a diving catch. Taking an extra base hit away from Vizcaino.
Well, Jordan gets a great jump on this ball in the outfield. Good swing by Vizcaino, trying to find a gap out there, trying to get Houston's offense going. Jordan out of nowhere comes over and makes the dive and makes the play. A fine, fine play by Jordan.
Jeff Bagwell up for the second time. It looked like Burkett pitched around him his first time up and walked him. Change up low to Bagwell. Who has swung the bat pretty well in this series. He has 3 hits so far, but in the playoffs from 1997 and 1999, he was 5 for 39 with 15 strikeouts and no home runs.
Well, Atlanta's been pitching around Bagwell, but in this situation, with a runner on first, Atlanta's got a 2-run lead. They've got to go after Bagwell here.
He's been on base 7 times so far in this series. In 9 plate appearances. Biggio used to be a threat to run, but he underwent the knee surgery and does not run. He'll pick his spots in one once in a while. He has 7 stolen bases, but he led the league back in 1994 when he stole 39. Stole 47 another year, 50 another season. Fastball low, 2-0.
Well, one thing Houston may have to do in this game, they may have to start some runners. They may have to hit and run. They may have to try to manufacture some runs because station-to-station baseball has not worked for them in the first 2 games. Takes a good eye to lay off that pitch because you know Bagwell wanted to swing 2-0. He felt like he was going to get a good pitch to hit and laid off the cutter down in the strike zone. He may have the green light here, 3-0, if he gets the fastball he's looking for.
Looked like another pitch around. Even though it puts the tying run on base, he just wasn't going to give in to Bagwell and give him an in good to hit.
Well, if you keep playing with fire, sooner or later you're going to get burned. Lance Berkman singled in the right field his first time up. You can walk Bagwell all day long, but sooner or later the guys behind him are going to pick their spots and do some damage. Berkman, Alou, Castilla, all very good hitters.
Berkman did single his first time up, but he's just 2 for 8 off John Burkett. Strike 1, so Burkett going aggressively after Berkman. The thinking man's pitcher. He doesn't have overpowering stuff, but he's very, very smart. He knows how to set up hitters. He changes speeds. He works up and down and in and out. Strike 2.
You know, Berkman, he doesn't run well. But surprisingly, he only grounded into 8 double plays this season. Fly ball hitter.
just off the plate, 1-2. Like Burkett trying to backdoor a little breaking ball.
We told you Burkett will test your patience, and that is exactly what he did with that 0-2 pitch. Here's where Burkett likes to elevate the fastball up in the strike zone.
And he pops it in the air to right field. Brian Jordan for the second out.
Take a look at the pitch by pitch to Lance Berkman. First pitch on the outside part of the plate. And another one outside, not giving in to him. He stays away from him. Finally something up. A pitch that he got and should have drove. Pops it up.
Well, in the first inning, Moises Alou came up with 2 outs and runners at first and second. And John Burkett got him to hit a little comebacker to end the inning. He's up there again. Alou, who is now 10 for 24, hitting over 400 with 2 home runs off Burkett. Not going to give him anything good to hit on that first pitch. Alou is a guy who early in the count looks to pull the ball. Once he gets 2 strikes on him, he'll try to hit the ball where it's pitched. The Astros will have a tough decision to make about Moises at the end of this season. He's a free agent and had another outstanding year. 2-0.
Well, if they decide not to sign him, someone's going to get a quality player. Moises is what you would call a professional hitter. As you said, with 2 strikes. He will give in. He'll take the base hit to right field.
Craig Biggio at second base, Jeff Bagwell at second. And a 2-0 count to dangerous Moises Alou. Cutter grounded the shortstop. Sanchez with a strong arm to get Alou. Well, John Burkett gets out of another jam. It's 2-0 Atlanta. Chipper Jones will be up third in the bottom of the third for the Braves. Mel Proctor and Rod Allen back in Atlanta along with former President Jimmy Carter and Roslyn. And they see the Braves leading 2-0 on a home run by catcher Paul Bacco.
Well, in Houston, former President Bush and his wife Barbara were there in attendance first 2 games.
Dueling presidents.
Presidents everywhere.
Marcus Giles leading off for the Braves in the third. Takes a strike from Shane Reynolds. Giles grounded to second his first time up. President Bush in Houston. And his son, George Bush Jr., facing a very difficult challenge as president of our country and doing a terrific job so far under very trying circumstances. 0-2 to Marcus Giles, a 53rd round draft pick out of Granite Hills High School outside San Diego. Younger brother of Pirates outfielder Brian Giles. 2 very similar players, both just hard-nosed guys who play the game all out. 1-2. Kilby Olivares was the second baseman to start the season, but he had a number of nagging injuries in and out of the lineup, and Bobby Cox finally got tired of dealing with it, and they let him go and brought Giles up.
Giles a tough kid. Earlier in the season in May, hit a grand slam to give the Braves a win one night and was sent back down to AAA the next day. But he didn't quit. He went down. He didn't mope. He played hard. And when Kilby Olivares was released, Giles was the guy that was given the everyday second base position. And he has done a nice job for Atlanta.
Probably not best suited to hitting the leadoff spot. He's probably better in the number 2 spot or down in the order, probably 7th or 8th. And when Rafael Furcal comes back next year, he would undoubtedly lead off. It's amazing what the Braves have done, losing Rico Brogna, starting first baseman, Veras the starting second baseman, Furcal an outstanding in shortstop. They had to replace 3/4 of the infield.
There's Rafael Furcal.
And a line drive into left field. Lance Berkman in to make the catch.
Berkman gets a good jump on this ball, and those balls hit directly at you. Those are the toughest ones to judge because you really can't tell whether the ball's got that backspin on it, which will allow it to carry over your head, or that top spin like that one that'll fall down at your feet. What a nice play by Berkman in left field.
Berkman, who did play some center field earlier this year when Richard Hidalgo was hurt, and did a decent job. Strike one to Julio Franco, who flied to center his first time up.
You were talking about the Braves replacing 3/4 of their infield. Here's another guy. They got him out of the Mexican League. He was leading the Mexican League in hitting. Franco's played in Japan. He's played in Korea. And now he finds himself back in the big leagues again.
1 ball, 1 strike. Well, Bronya started the season as first baseman. He got hurt and eventually retired. He's back helping coach college football in Connecticut. They picked up Ken Caminiti from the Rangers after he'd been released. He played there for a while. Wes Helms played a few games at first. Dave Martinez saw a little bit of action. Then they went to Mexico and got Franco. Now, he hit very well in the Mexican League. He was hitting .437 there, but with the exchange rate, what is that in the United States?
Well, he's got a .301 career major league average, so that's really all that matters.
That's about .337 then. 3-1. I know you played in Japan. Did you ever play in Mexico at all?
I played some winters in Mexico in the off season. Go down and make a few pesos.
And a drive well hit into left center field. Back goes Lance Berkman, and it's gone. 3-0 Atlanta. Julio Franco, formerly the Mexico City Tigers, now an Atlanta Braves, puts the Braves up 3-0.
Former president's got a huge smile on his face. This Braves team, they can smell it. They're very, very confident. I mean, they came in as the underdog, if you believe that. And we talked about Franco's hitting ability. What a swing by him.
So home runs by Paul Bacco and Julio Franco have Atlanta out in front, 3-0. As Chipper Jones takes ball one, he singled his first time up. 3 of the 4 Braves hits have been extra base hits, including the 2 homers.
Well, you talk about getting major contributions from guys that you really weren't expected to get those contributions from. Marcus Giles, we've talked about him. Paul Bacco with a big home run. And now Franco. John Sherholt, their general manager, the last 11 years, has done an awesome job with this organization.
Splitter swung on and missed. The Braves have won 10 straight divisional championships, won a World Series in '95. They've been in the World Series 5 times. John Sherholtz, who came over from the Kansas City Royals, one of the best at his job.
He never misses on the character of a player, whether it's making a trade at the trade deadline or bringing in a free agent. The guys always fit into the scheme of things as far as what the Braves are trying to accomplish.
John began his career in Baltimore. He was a school teacher at the time. Went to the Baltimore Orioles and volunteered his services as an unpaid PR assistant. That's how he got started. And Chipper Jones on base for the second time as he draws a walk. The first given up by Shane Reynolds. Well, Julio Franco's home run has made it 3-0. Julio, who first came up in 1982 with the Phillies, then was traded to the Indians where he had some great years in the early 80s. Won a batting title one year in Texas. Rod, he's always had that very unusual way of hitting, that bat wrapped up around his ear. Tremendous power to the opposite field.
You know, it really doesn't matter what you do with the bat while you're setting up, but it does matter what you do with it once the ball's in the hitting zone.
Fastball for a strike to Brian Jordan, who grounded out to end the first inning.
And one thing Franco has been able to do throughout his entire career is get the barrel of the bat through the zone with a lot of bat speed. He's been a terrific hitter.
He might play till he's 50.
As long as he can hit, there'll be a place for him to play.
It's amazing how it used to be players would go to Japan or Mexico, and that would be the last stop until Cecil Fielder went to Japan, had some success, came back over with the Tigers. Now you see quite a bit of movement. Guys go over to Japan, make a little money, come back. You go to Mexico. They're playing baseball every now. Korea.
Well, I think
Taiwan
Cecil was the guy that paved the way.
Ground ball foul off third base. 1-2 to Brian Jordan.
Yeah, before when you'd go to Japan or Korea or Mexico, teams wouldn't give you an opportunity to come back. But when Cecil came back and hit 50 home runs, then they started paying attention to guys that were coming back that wanted to play more. It's a good situation here for Chipper Jones to run in. The Braves have got a little margin for error here. They've got a 3-run lead. It's very early in the game. Chipper stole 9 bases during the course of the season, and more than likely, Jordan's going to get that split finger here.
Fastball fouled back. Well, talking about Japan, of course, the stars from Japan now coming to this country. Ichiro Suzuki, leading candidate for Rookie of the Year and MVP honors in the American League with Seattle. Kazuhiro Sasaki, Masato Yoshi. It's truly become an international game. Nice play by the first baseman. There's one. That's all they'll get. As Jones is forced at second, Jeff Bagwell, who has a Gold Glove or 2 to his credit, making a fine play. Jordan reaches on a fielder's choice. Talking about the Japanese imports, Ichiro. Boy, what a job he has done. Leading the league in hits, setting a rookie record for hits, leading the league in hitting at runners in scoring position, Gold Glove outfielder.
He's the MVP in the American League. I know Brett Boone's had an outstanding year, but what Ichiro has done has been amazing. I mean, just an electrifying player. Special talent. I played in Japan for 3 years, and there were no Ichiros running around while I was over there.
Brian Jordan running on the pitch to throw to second base, and he is out. So Jordan is thrown out by Tony Eusebio trying to steal. Braves pick up another run on Julio Franco's homer and now lead 3-0. Back at Turner Field in Atlanta, here's the RadioShack.com trivia question. Who is the last team to win a playoff series after losing the first 2 games at home? We'll have the answer a little later. Now the Astros have their backs to the wall. They're down 3-0, down in the series 2-0. Their offense virtually non-existent. They've hit just .216 in the series and scored only 4 runs. As Vinny Castilla leads off the 4th and takes the ball. But that's not new. They've had a history of melting down offensively in the playoffs from 1997 through 1999 in postseason. As a team, they've hit 193. Fly ball to shallow left. And the shortstop, Sanchez, going out to make the play. Well, the Diamondbacks and Cardinals will meet later today in a game you'll see on the Fox Family Channel. Earlier this year, Woody Williams was acquired by the Cardinals for Ray Lankford from the San Diego Padres, and since coming over there, he's gone 7-1. Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, taught him a slider. That's been working for him, and he bested the big unit, Randy Johnson, that last start.
Well, that may have been the best pickup by any team mid-season. It wasn't even a trade deadline deal. They got Woody Williams after the July 31st trade deadline. He was put on waivers. No one picked him up, and that paved the way for San Diego to cut a deal with St. Louis. Ray Lankford going from St. Louis to San Diego, but he has been awesome for them.
Lankford played pretty well for the Padres until he got hurt, but Williams has just been unbelievable. 1-2 to Richard Hidalgo. Popped to second his first time up. That game will be coming up. Presented by Budweiser. Tonight on Fox Family, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Cutter just outside. 2-2 to Hidalgo. Strike 3.
Burkett's really got that cutter working. He tied a good fastball hitter up in Vinny Castilla. He flew out to the shortstop. Then he comes back with a fastball to Hidalgo. This ball cuts right over the plate. Hidalgo freezes. The Houston Astros are not looking from this pitch from Burkett. They're looking out over the plate, and he continues to throw the fastball inside.
Tony Eusebio grounds to third. And that's all for the Astros as Burkett retires the side in order in the fourth. Braves 3, Houston nothing. At Turner Field in Atlanta with the Braves looking to close out the Houston Astros. Paul Bacco's two-run homer in the third gave them a 2-0 lead. Julio Franco hit one with 1 out in the third to make it 3-0 Atlanta. Shane Reynolds, who gave up 24 home runs during the regular season. And his first pitch to B.J. Surhoff is a strike. And giving up the 2 home runs today, Reynolds becomes the first Astros pitcher ever to give up 2 home runs in a playoff game. 1-1 to Surhoff.
Well, he hasn't had good location. He was able to get ahead of Sanchez back in that second inning. Sanchez doubled on an 0-2 pitch. And then Bacco with a base open, 2 outs, pitcher on deck. He hits a 1-2 pitch into the right field seat.
High pop-up into left center field. And Lance Berkman has it for the first out. And now it's time for the answers to today's RadioShack.com trivia question. Again, the question, who is the last team to win a playoff series after losing the first 2 games at home? The Yankees in 1996, trailing 2-0, came back to win the series. Big home run by Jim Leyritz in Game 4 off Mark Wohlers.
I remember that game. Wohlers had thrown 2 fastballs right by Jimmy Leyritz, and then he came back with a hanging slider, sped the bat up of Leyritz, and he drove the ball out of the yard.
But that was in the World Series, and it's worth repeating that in the Divisional Series or the LCS, no team has ever lost the first 2 games at home, as Houston has done, and come back to win the series. And they're trailing 3-0 today. 0-2 to Andrew Jones, who grounded to third his first time up.
Well, in the division series, there's really been no such thing as home field advantage. In the 8 games played so far, 6 of the games won by visiting teams. Only Arizona and Seattle able to win games in their home ballpark.
One and two. Hard to believe Andrew Jones is only 24 years old. He was in the World Series at the age of 19. Ground ball off the glove of the shortstop Vizcaino. A base hit for Jones. The 5th Atlanta hit off Shane Reynolds.
Andrew Jones, the youngest player in the history of the game to hit a home run in postseason. Back in '96, he was 19 years old, as you mentioned. Good swing. The 6th hit in the division series by Jones. Coming in the 5 previous division series, Andrew Jones was 5 for 41. And he already has 6 hits. He said he's really cut his swing down here in the division series, realizing the importance of every single at-bat. That's what Merv Retman has been trying to get him to do all season long.
Andrew running on the pitch as Ray Sanchez drops one into center field. Andrew Jones heading to third. Hidalgo has a great arm, but the throw is not in time. And with Jones running on the pitch, Hidalgo not able to get him on the base hit by Sanchez, who's 2 for 2.
That's the second hit and run the Braves have tried in this series. They hit into a double play a couple of days ago in Houston. They lined out to Vinny Castilla. This one ran to perfection. The ball lined up the middle. Jones does not hesitate. He challenges the very strong arm here for Hidalgo. Hidalgo throws the ball on the line, but just a little late. Hidalgo's got a power arm in center field.
Now the Braves are threatening again with runners at first and third as Ned Yost tells Jones to get down. Bert Hooten, the pitching coach, Happy his nickname, and he's not happy now.
They've got that tomahawk chop going here in Atlanta. Fans are starting to get loud.
The Atlanta Braves, 6, 7, and 8 hitters today have gone 4 for 5. And Paul Bacco, who had a 2-run homer to give the Braves the lead in the second, coming up now with runners at first and third. Less than a sellout crowd here. I think they've gotten used to winning in Atlanta. Win, 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 win. 10 straight divisional titles. What an enthusiastic crowd.
If you're Bacco here, you're thinking about one pitch. You want something up in the strike zone. You want something out over the plate. And all you're trying to do is drive the ball the opposite way in the air. That's what you want here. You want to keep the ball off the ground. But you've got to be patient against a guy like Reynolds. That first pitch is changeup down in the strike zone. That's not the pitch that Bacco wants to swing at.
Jones at third. Sanchez at first. Taken low, 1-1.
Well, Reynolds is a veteran pitcher. Bacco doesn't run well. Keeping the ball down, trying to get the ground ball to get the double play, which would get him out of the inning.
These two teams combined to turn 7 double plays in Game 2 of the series. 4 of them by Houston. And 3 of them started by the third baseman, Vinny Castilla.
On lineouts, not ground balls.
The Astros could sure use a double play here. Squeeze play is on. And the Braves pull it up to pick up another run. Andrew Jones in to score on a squeeze bunt by Paul Bacco. 4-0 Braves. And Bacco, the backup catcher, getting a chance to play with the injury to Javi Lopez, has driven in 3 of the 4 runs.
What a great call there by Bobby Cox. After the first 2 pitches, Houston did not pitch out. Cox felt like it was a good situation to try the squeeze bunt. And Bacco does it to perfection. Jones does not lead too early. Bacco simply gets the ball down on the ground and not a play at home. What a great call by Bobby Cox. Look at the form here of Bacco. I mean, really concentrating there.
And the first pitch to John Burkett is low. And often you don't see the squeeze play on with the left-hand hitter up because the catcher can see that runner coming from third base. That really caught him by surprise. So it's a sacrifice, an RBI for Bacco, and it's 4-0 Atlanta. Sanchez going to second on the play. Off-speed pitch, swung on and missed, and it's 1-1 to John Burkett. Braves are looking tough to beat. They've now outscored Houston in the series 12-4. Strike call on the outside corner, 1-2.
Well, the Braves won 88 games during the regular season, which are the fewest among all postseason teams. And a lot of people, were saying that the Braves were the underdog. I mean, how can you be the underdog when you've got a Maddox and a Glavine going for you in games 1 and 2?
And Burkett strikes out, but the Braves pick up another run and a squeeze bunt, and now lead 4-0. You're watching Fox Sports, the exclusive home of the MLB postseason and 2001 World Series. We'll return to Atlanta after a break from your local station. Back at Turner Field in Atlanta, the Braves have taken a 4-0 lead. Now it's time to take a look at the fan of the game with the MasterCard fan cam. You should expect a lot of happy Braves fans here right now. Tomahawk chop action.
They got those tomahawk chops going. They started before the game even began.
The family fan cam, President Carter and Roslyn enjoying the action. Former president wearing his Braves hat. Julio Lugo will pinch hit for Shane Reynolds, leading off for the Astros in the 5th. Lugo, who started at shortstop in the first 2 games and really struggled. He's 0 for 7 in the series, and he's committed 3 costly errors at shortstop. He was the regular shortstop during the regular season and committed 22 errors. And Larry Dierker electing to go with the veteran Jose Vizcaíno, has a lot of postseason experience in today's game. Popped in the air to right. And Brian Jordan makes the catch. Let's check in with Jeannie Zelasco in Hollywood. Jeannie?
Well, Mel, in search of the old Yankees, nothing has surfaced but the old Yankees. Youth has been served in this ALDS. The youth of the Oakland A's and its pitching staff. Tim Hudson did the honors Thursday as the A's took a 2-0 series lead, shutting down the defending champs in their own backyard. Game 3 Saturday on the Fox Network. Barry Zito versus Mike Mussino. Mussino looking to finish out the series. Mel?
How about those A's young pitchers, Mark Mulder and Tim Hudson, going into Yankee Stadium, one of the toughest places to pitch in postseason. They look like they've been pitching for 10 years.
Those young boys have got ice water in their veins. You talk about talent. I mean, Mulder and Hudson, they only walked one in the innings that they pitched, and that's one of the things that New York wanted to do going into the game. They thought maybe those youngsters would walk a few more batters, but they are not giving in. I mean, pitching extremely well.
Barry Zito about now is probably doing his yoga and his meditation, getting ready for tomorrow's start. He has kind of an unusual routine as he gets ready.
Whatever works.
He's a left-hander. What do you expect?
Whatever works. Rick Peterson, their pitching coach, has done an awesome job with those three pitchers. As a matter of fact, Peterson had all of them when he was in the minor leagues. He was their minor league pitching coordinator before going up to the big leagues. And he doesn't get a lot of credit, but he needs to get a lot of credit for what he has done with Mulder, Hudson, and also Zito.
Do you see those three guys coming along? Do they remind you at all of Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, and Tom Glavine when they were younger?
You know, the guys here, they're finesse pitchers. Those three guys, they've got above-average fastballs. They're power pitchers.
B.J. Surhoff, the Braves left fielder, makes the catch to retire Craig Biggio. Well, go to MLB.com to bid on special autographed and game-used items currently up for auction to benefit the Disaster Relief Fund. Certainly a worthy cause. 2 quick outs in the 5th, and Jose Vizcaíno up. He's grounded to short, line to right. Ball 1. John Burkett, the bowler who has 10 perfect games to his credit, has not pitched a perfect game today, but working on a 3-hit shutout, and that's not bad. And another easy inning for the veteran right-hander. As the Astros are down in order, bottom of the 5th coming up, 4-0 Atlanta.
By IBM, taking e-business and your business to the next level. And by your friends at Exxon and Mobil, who remind you to use Speed Pass, today's way to pay.
Mel Proctor, Rod Allen back at Turner Field in Atlanta. The Braves just 1 game away from eliminating Houston, leading 4-0, getting a strong pitching performance from John Burkett and home runs from Paul Bacco and Julio Franco, and a squeeze bunt from Bacco. They lead 4-0. Nelson Cruz takes over for Shane Reynolds, who was lifted for a pinch hitter.
Cruz pitched 2/3 of an inning just a couple of days ago. Did not give up a hit. Got a pretty good arm. Fastball gets up to 92. He's got good movement with the sinker when he has that ball down in the strike zone. Also features a slider and an occasional changeup.
Ball 1 to Marcus Giles, who's grounded to second and line to left. Cruz, who has previously pitched in the big leagues for the White Sox and the Tigers, came over in a trade from Detroit. The same deal that brought the Astros Brad Ausmus. Has really been a key to the pitching. Might very well be one of the most valuable players on this team with what he's done with the Astros pitching staff, but he's not in the lineup today. High fly ball into right center. Hidalgo calling for it. Well, this week, Fox NFL Sunday begins with America's #1 pregame show as JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris get ready for kickoff. And Jesse Armstead, the dominating Giants defense, will try to stop Marshall Faulk and the high-scoring Rams offense or other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Fox. Julio Franco hit a home run in the 3rd to make it 3-0, up with 1 out in the 5th. And hits one in the air to right. Back in the seats.
You know, for years, a lot of pitchers have thought that they can get the fastball on the inside part of the plate to Franco because when he sets up in the batter's box, he's got that bat head pointed directly toward the pitcher. And as a pitcher, if you've got any kind of fastball at all, you're going to try to sneak it inside on him, but he's got some lightning quick hands. He's always been able to somehow get the barrel of the bat there and drive balls into the gap. Look at the bat head here. I mean, this bat is pointing directly toward the pitchers now when he gets in his set position.
Look at the stance, the knock knees, and the bat wrapped around the head. Doesn't look real comfortable, but it works for him.
He can hit. Look at the bat head.
Franco, who was signed in 1978 out of the Dominican Republic by the Philadelphia Phillies, came up as a shortstop, but then started lifting weights, got much bigger. Now he's about 210 pounds, rock solid. Also played some third base, and now first baseman. Up the middle, here comes Biggio. 2 outs. Oh, Nelson Cruz has retired the first 2 hitters. Now it'll bring up Chipper Jones.
Take a look at Franco. I mean, you see this is pointed directly toward the pitcher. So many pitchers have thought that they can get on the inside part of the plate, but what he does, he pulls his hands down in here, and his bat comes through here with great bat speed.
Well, you've really got to be strong to do that.
He holds 3 fingers off the knob of the bat. And he's swinging one of the heaviest bats of any of the players in the big leagues right now. 35 inches, 34 ounces.
And Chipper Jones sends one to deep right center field. Hidalgo racing back to the warning track to make the catch. The end of 5 from Turner Field in Atlanta. The Braves lead the Astros 4-0. Friday afternoon, the Braves continue to get good pitching. Their hallmark over the last 10 years. Greg Maddux in Game 1. Tom Glavine in Game 2. John Smoltz out of the bullpen in both games. And today it's been John Burkett pitching a 3-hit shutout through 5 innings.
Oh, Burkett's pitching a masterpiece here against the Houston Astros. A very good offensive team. He's retired 8 in a row. The last Houston Astros to reach base was Jeff Bagwell back in the 3rd inning. He was walked.
And Rod, it looked like both times that Bagwell has been up, Burkett pitched around it.
I don't think he's going to do that here, though. With a 4-run lead, he'll go after Bagwell this time. You know, one of the worst things that you can do when you've got a 4-run lead, and it's very apparent to me that Jeff Bagwell has been the guy the entire series that the Atlanta Braves have elected to not let him beat them. But with a 4-run lead, you've got to go after him. You walk a guy in this situation, I've seen some strange things happen. You want to make him hit the ball here.
Change up outside, 1 ball, 1 strike to Bagwell. Saw Leo Mazzone, the pitching coach, rocking in the dugout. Something he just says he's not even aware that he's doing this. He's just so into the game. A little low with the fastball, 2-1.
He'd make you nervous sitting right next to you. Next to him, excuse me. But Bobby Cott's not nervous at all.
Cutter for a strike, 2-2. They have had great pitchers here in Atlanta, but Leo Mazzone deserves a lot of credit. He has his own philosophy about pitching. The Braves pitchers probably throw more between starts than any other pitchers. They play a lot of long toss. Breaking ball misses, 3-2. He believes that the best pitch a pitcher can throw is a fastball, not necessarily hard. You should forget about that radar gun stuff. You can throw the radar gun to garbage. We want fastballs that are strikes, that have some movement on it, that we change speeds with. But our pitchers also need to have a quality breaking ball. He doesn't refer to it as a slider or a curve. It's an Atlanta Braves breaking ball. Chipper Jones to first. Oh, he's seen 2 of the most unusual stances in baseball. Both first basemen. We showed you Julio Franco's stance. Compare that with Jeff Bagwell.
Well, one thing they both got in common, they can hit. You see Franco there, he's got both knees closed up, and you see Bagwell spread out, but they have the head pointed directly towards the pitcher. Both eyes focused on the pitcher. That is the key to both swings.
Those look like 2 shots taken at the disco about 2 a.m. Couple dances. Well, Bagwell early in his career used a lot of different stances. And Tony Gwynn of the San Diego Padres suggested to him that maybe he finds something consistent. And he actually signed a bat saying, 2 bags, best of luck, keep the same stance, Tony Gwynn. And Bagwell settled on pretty much the stance he's using now because he felt that you have no ability to make adjustments if you're constantly changing stances. You have no foundation.
Well, another guy comes to mind that has changed his stance throughout his marvelous Hall of Fame career, and that's Cal Ripken, who was retiring at the end of this season, but he would change from where he held his hands to an open stride, closed, but the bottom line is he always had good results.
All right. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Lance Berkman. See you later. Talk about John Burkett being quite a bowler, and as he stands on the mound on the rubber getting ready to pitch, it's pretty much the same as his setup to bowl. 10 perfect games to his credit. There's a strike.
He's got that natural cutter while bowling as well. Somehow, some way, when I try to bowl there, I mean, look at the cutter here. I mean, it looks like he's bowling out there. Cut fastball on the inside part of the plate to Berkman. We've seen that a lot today.
And a well-hit ball into right center field. Andrew Jones digging hard. It's off the base of the wall. He gets to it quickly. Throw to second base, not in time. And Moises Alou in with a 2-out double.
Well, if Andrew Jones cannot catch it in center field, it's not catchable. He is one of the best in the business. A great swing by Lou. Jumped on the first fastball. He knows now that Burkett's going to come after him. And nice play here by Jones off the wall and fires a strike back to second base. Lou really had to hustle just to get a double on a ball hit 400 feet off the base of the wall.
Andrew Jones only 24, but he's already run 3 Gold Gloves. We talked to the Braves. They'll say he's the best center fielder they've ever seen. Just has a knack, almost like a built-in radar, being able to read balls off the bat. Sometimes it's almost like he's running about 3/4 speed, but he always seems to get there. Chopper foul by Vinny Castillo, 1-1.
Well, one thing about Andrew Jones in center field, he gets great jumps. He gets great jumps from east to west, north to south. There's not a lot of guys that can do that. You know, one of the troublesome areas for center fielders is going directly back on a ball. That's why Jones plays so shallow. He can go back on a ball better than anyone in the center field in the big leagues right now.
Breaking ball just missed, 2-1. And Andrew also works at his craft. He'll go out, well, a team is taking batting practice, and go out to the center field and take balls off the bat, which is much different than having a coach hit you fungos, because you get the kind of reads off the bat you'll get in a game situation.
Best practice you can take.
Little low, 3-1.
Well, Houston is 0 for 12 with runners in scoring position in this series.
Amazing.
Trying to break the string here. Just have not been able to figure out Braves pitching. But few have been able to figure out Braves pitching.
Foul back, 3-2 to Vinny Castillo. Steve Reed, Mike Remlinger throwing in the Braves bullpen. And they've got a good bullpen. They feel this is one of the best pens they've had in years. Good setup man, and they've got John Smoltz now working as a closer.
Oh, you don't want to see John Smoltz. He's been filthy.
Got him. Castillo strikes out with a runner in scoring position, and John Burkett has a shutout. Braves lead 4-0 through 6. Again on a sweep, leading 4-0 as we go to the bottom half of the 6th. Ryan Jordan takes the first pitch for a ball from Nelson Cruz, who retired the side in order in the 5th. Picking up for Shane Reynolds. Jordan has grounded out and reached on a fielder's choice. Nelson Cruz, who was originally signed out of the Dominican Republic by the White Sox. He was released and was out of baseball for 3 years before he came back in 1995. Slider is lined into left field. Well, Brian Jordan has been a great postseason hitter. He manhandled the Astros in 1999 in Game 3 with the series tied 1-1. He drove in all 5 runs in the Braves' 5-3 win. He hit a 3-run homer in the 6th inning. And then he hit a 2-out, 2-run double in the top of the 12th. The Braves clinched series the following day and then beat the Mets in a memorable NLCS.
Well, quietly, Brian Jordan has become the leader of this Braves team. A lot of times he takes the field. He is less than 100%. Has no problem playing injured.
Ground ball to first. Bagwell backhands, fires to second. The throw back to first. In time. First double play the Astros have turned today as Surhoff grounds into a double play.
It's a nice play right here. One of the toughest plays. You've got the first baseman has to clear his body out of the way to make sure he doesn't throw the ball in direction of the runner there, and then you've got Cruz feeling his position. As soon as this ball's hit, Nelson Cruz beelines for the bag, and then you've got Vizcaíno hitting him on the run. I mean, they ran that to perfection.
3-6-1 on the double play. And Andrew Jones steps in. He reached on an infield hit and scored in the fourth. A hot shot to third, speared by Castilla. And that's all for the Braves at the end of 6 innings from Turner Field in Atlanta. The Braves lead 4-0. John Smoltz beginning to get ready down in the bullpen. You're watching Fox Sports, the exclusive home of the MLB postseason and 2001 World Series. And we'll return to Atlanta after break from your local station. Closer John Smoltz down the Atlanta bullpen, riding the exercise bike, getting ready.
Trying to get a little lather going, talking to his fans.
Ball 1 to Richard Hidalgo. John Burkett going strong, though. He's allowed no runs on 4 hits. Larry Dierker's Astros running out of outs. Houston has now been shut out the last 15 innings of this series. Their last run came on Vinny Castilla's home run off John Smoltz in the 9th inning of Game 1. Sinker fouled off, 2-1.
2 years ago, John Burkett thought his career was over after being released by Tampa. The Braves signed him as their 5th starter, and here he is pitching in Game 3 of the Division Series.
Remlinger and Reed still up, the setup men, as Hidalgo sends a fly ball to center field. Andrew Jones for the first out, and this game summary is brought to you by Nissan. Burkett pitching shutout ball has allowed just 4 hits, has struck out 4. Paul Bacco hit a 2-run homer and also laid down a squeeze bunt. As we mentioned, the Astros have not scored now in 15 in the 3rd inning. Tony Eusebio 1 for 2. He has one of the 4 hits, a double in the 2nd. John Burkett, who really wanted to be a pro bowler. We showed you the footage of him bowling, but he started bowling when he was 5. By the time he was 12, he could beat his father at bowling.
That's not good.
No. He wanted to be a pro bowler. Really didn't think that much about baseball. He was working at the local bowling alley, Wedgwood Lanes in Beaver, Pennsylvania, making $1.50 an hour. When the Giants drafted him and offered him a bonus of $31,000, he decided, well, maybe I will play baseball.
He made a wise choice.
Spent many years in the minor leagues, and he would often come home from minor league season, go to his home near Pittsburgh and go over to Three River Stadium and sit in the stands and wonder why he wasn't in the big leagues. But he persevered and has gone on to have a fine career. 1-2 to Eusebio.
The Astros have not scored a run since the 9th inning on Tuesday when Vinny Castilla hit a leadoff home run.
A hanging breaking ball hit down the left field line, has a chance, and it is foul. Burkett got away with one there. That was a hanger.
This is where you've got to take advantage of a mistake up in the strike zone. But very, very tough pitch to keep fair, that ball on the inside part of the plate.
2-2 to Eusebio. During the regular season, Burkett in 219 in the 3rd innings only gave up 17 home runs. Three and 2.
Burkett only won 12 games, but he pitched much better than that. He finished 3rd in the National League in earned run average. Earned run average just over 3 at 304. He finished behind that 2-headed monster in Arizona of Schilling and Johnson. In 14 of his 34 starts, the Braves scored 2 or fewer runs.
Hard hit, and off the glove of the second baseman Giles. He throws to first, not in time. He almost made a spectacular play, but the ball popped out of his glove, and it'll be a base hit for Eusebio. And now the Astros will send up a pinch hitter, Dale Ward.
That ball was hit like a bullet off the bat of Eusebio, and almost a spectacular play by Giles. He gets up, and you got to give Eusebio a lot of credit for running down the line the entire way.
And now Darrell Ward will bat for the pitcher, Nelson Cruz. Ward has only had one at bat in the series so far and is hitless, but he does have some power. A .263 hitter during the season with 9 homers in limited action.
Franco telling Burkett he's going to play behind Eusebio. He's not going anywhere. At least you would think he's not going anywhere.
Fastball high to Darrell Ward. A guy that a lot of teams have tried to pry away from the Houston Astros. He's a terrific hitter. Can play first base or the outfield. Eusebio at first, a very slow runner. 1-1.
Yeah, they have a tough time finding at-bats for Ward with Bagwell at first base in the emergence of Lance Berkman in left, Hidalgo, and Alou. Depending on what they do with Alou in the offseason, whether they elect to sign him or he leaves as a free agent, may clear the way for Darrell Ward.
And a drive to right field and deep. Back goes Brian Jordan, and Ward hits one out of here. A pinch hit 2-run home run to cut the lead to 4-2. And he's given the Astros some life, and he sends Leo Mazzoni to the phone calling the bullpen.
During the regular season, Ward was 8 for 37 as a pinch hitter with 1 home run. And you've got to be ready when you come off the bench. And he was.
And Bobby Cox is going to make a change. That'll be all for John Burkett, who took a shutout into the 7th. Gave up a single to Eusebio and a 2-run homer to pinch hitter Darrell Ward. And it's now 4-2 Atlanta. Ward with a pinch hit home run, and Houston is alive finally. Coming up later on the Fox Family Channel, Game 3 in the series between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the St. Louis Cardinals, with the score tied 1-1 in the series. Kurt Schilling won the opener, but Woody Williams, the Cardinals, outdueled Randy Johnson the second game to tie it up. The game brought to you by Budweiser. That'll be coming up at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific on Fox Family. Miguel Batista will be on the mound for the Diamondbacks against 16-game winner Darryl Kyle.
Miguel Batista pitched an inning of relief on Wednesday at Bank One Ballpark, but that's something he's done for the Diamondbacks all season long. When he wasn't starting, he was down in the bullpen.
There's Darrell Ward, who just hit a 2-run homer off John Burkett to cut the Atlanta lead to 4-2, and Bobby Cox brings in right-hander Steve Reed, who has just been almost impossible to hit. Right-handed batters are hitting 148 off this guy, and Craig Biggio, who's up now, is 2 for 21 against him. Ground ball to third. Chipper Jones to first. The throw pulls Franco off the bag, but he tags Biggio for the out.
Well, that's why Biggio swinging at the very first pitch, because he knows that he has struggled against Reed in his career. Ball hit sharply right down to Chipper Jones. Chipper with a lot of time over there. Took his time throwing the ball across the diamond. And a nice play by Franco coming off the bag and then laying the tag on Biggio. Franco hurt his left wrist on that tag.
Well, Reed made one pitch to get Biggio out, and now the left-hander Reynolds will be coming in to face Vizcaino, and we'll be back. First base has a home run today, but it looked like he hurt his wrist here, tagging Craig Biggio.
He came off the bag to make the play on the throw from Chipper, and Biggio running full speed. Looked like he hit him right on the thigh area there, and he must have had the wrist turned the wrong way, because he's been flexing it back and forth while we've waited for the pitching change. But he's waited a long time to get back to the big league, Mill. He's not going anywhere.
No, he's been to Korea, Japan, Mexico. He's back in the big leagues, but he wants to stay there.
And Biggio's got a lot of speed running down the line.
So Mike Remlinger, left-hander, coming in to turn Jose Vizcaino around and make him bat right-handed, his weaker side. Ball 1 to Vizcaino, who's only had 36 at-bats hitting right-handed and is hitting .250.
75 innings this season by Remlinger. He's been awesome for the Braves. 93 strikeouts. He's got a good arm.
And first batters have hit just 203 off Remlinger, but he falls behind 2-0 on Vizcaino, who's 2 for 7 off Remlinger.
Oh, 2 outs here. You need base runners. I wouldn't be surprised to see Vizcaino take a pitch here.
Fastball in there.
That's a good veteran right there.
Well, and he really wants to go after Vizcaino and get him out because you've got Jeff Bagwell on deck. If Vizcaino gets in, Bagwell would come up representing the tying run. Into right field, and Brian Jordan is there. But the Astros pick up two runs on a 2-run pinch hit home run by Darrell Ward. Time for the 7th inning break, and it's also time for God Bless America here at Turner Field in Atlanta.
Let's invite all of our guests to sing along as we celebrate America's freedom with the playing of God Bless America.
From the mountain to the
brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, we keep America running. And by Energizer. You have the bunny inside?
Mel Proctor with Rod Allen back at Turner Field in Atlanta. The Braves leading 4-2. Ted Turner enjoying the food and the lead so far. Octavio Dotel, hard-throwing right-hander, comes in for the Astros. Facing Ray Sanchez, Paul Bacco in the pitcher spot due up third. Ted working on a taco here at Turner Field.
Look good. Got a lot of stuff on it, though. You'd eat something like that, wouldn't you, Mel?
Well, I like where we went last night. He took me to a soul food restaurant here in Atlanta.
You like that, huh? A little down-home cooking.
Little fried chicken,
Yeah.
some catfish, and
Green
meatloaf,
beans.
green beans,
Candy, yeah, you like that?
black-eyed peas.
Your stomach wasn't hurting this morning?
Not a bit. Enjoyed it. Went out with a couple of Diamondback scouts and picked their brains. It's amazing how many scouts are out now. The Diamondbacks, for example, have 3 scouts here. Why do you need 3 scouts? Why can't one do the job?
The Yankees have 6. Well, one guy watches the pitchers, one guy watches the hitters, and one guy watches the manager. Look at all the scouts down there. You've got scouts from all the teams participating in the playoffs, taking a lot of notes, too. They're working very hard.
A lot of stopwatches and radar guns down there in the stand. Fouled back 1-2 to Ray Sanchez, who's had a good day, 2 for 2 with a single, double, and run scored.
It was a decision on Tuesday not to bring Dotel into the game in the 8th inning. Larry Dierker went to Mike Jackson. Houston had a 1-run lead at the time. Mike Jackson gave up a couple of runs. Billy Wagner gave up a big 3-run home run to Chipper Jones, but a lot of people questioned the decision of Dierker bringing in Jackson instead of Dotel. When all season long, Dotel's been the setup guy, Wagner's been the closer.
Well, Dotel did struggle a bit at the end of the regular season. He gave up 7 earned runs in his last 7 outings, but that happens a lot at the end of the year. But Larry Dierker decided to go with Jackson, and he ended up taking the loss. Breaking ball swung on and missed. Sanchez strikes out. Well, we've seen the dedication and spirit of the people of New York in the wake of the terrorist attacks. And tonight, John Walsh will join them in their quest for justice. The White House has asked John, America's Most Wanted, to air a special broadcast to take down the world's top 22 terrorists from Osama bin Laden on down. Watch America's Most Wanted. Terrorist, a special edition, tonight at 9, 8 Central, right here on Fox. Paul Bacco's having quite a game. Hits one hopper off the wall, heading for second base. Bacco into the spotlight with the injury to Javi Lopez, and all he's done is hit a 2-run homer to give the Braves the lead. Lay down a squeeze bunt to make it 4-0 in the fourth, and now a double in the seventh.
He has had a great game. Back in the second inning, a pitch on the inside part of the plate. He drives into the right field. He's just a great swing by Bacco. And then the squeeze. I mean, to perfection. I mean, the concentration. Able to get that ball down. And then the last hit here, doubling into the right field corner.
And now Bobby Cox will send up a pinch hitter. Switch hitting Ken Caminiti to bat for the pitcher. Fastball inside to Caminiti, who was picked up earlier this year by the Braves after being released by the Texas Rangers. Great player for many years with the Houston Astros. Was traded to the San Diego Padres, where he was the most valuable player in the National League in 1996. Merv Redmond, the hitting coach, saying that Cammy is about as healthy now as he has been for quite some time. He had problems with hamstring pulls early in the year. Fly ball into shallow center field. Hidalgo is in. 2 outs. Caminiti probably not at full strength. He and several of the Braves have had some sort of a flu bug that's been around here the last couple of days.
You know, that gives you an idea of the arm of Octavio Dotel. Caminiti, his entire career, has been a pretty good fastball hitter. A 1-0 count, and Dotel able to jam him. Dotel's got a great fastball. Gets up to 96, 97 miles per hour. You're looking for a fastball here, and you know you're going to get one, and then you're not able to get there.
Marcus Giles up for the fourth time. He's 0 for 3. Slider swung on and missed.
You know, it really took Dotel a while to warm up to the idea that he was not going to be a starter for Houston. And once he realized that, I mean, he really emerged as one of the top setup men in all of baseball.
Another slider, strike 2. Fastball got him on the outside corner. We've completed 7 innings here at Turner Field. The Atlanta Braves leading 4-2. Jeff Bagwell, Lance Berkman, Moises Alou coming up for the stroke. And the Astros are running out of outs, and they also know that there's a real sense of urgency here in the 8th because the 9th and possibly part of the 8th belongs to John Smoltz.
Well, they're going to have to go after Carsey here. Carsey's got a true fastball. So we're going to look at Smoltz now warming up in the Braves bullpen. His fastball is in the mid-90s, but it's true. He's going to have to incorporate the breaking ball in this inning because he's going against the heart of the lineup. And all 3 of the guys coming up in this inning, they can turn around a 95-mile-per-hour fastball.
Jeff Bagwell leading off the 8th. He's walked twice and grounded to third. A hard sinker in there for a strike. Bagwell is 0 for 1 against Carsey, who served as a closer for a while after John Rocker was traded before John Smoltz moved into that spot, and he had 7 saves.
He came over from Cleveland along with Steve Reed, who pitched 1/3 of an inning in this game in the John Rocker trade.
It was a good trade for the Braves. Rocker had been a clubhouse problem here, and they were able to get Steve Reed and Carsey. 2 guys have done a great job in the bullpen for Atlanta.
Well, their bullpen is better without Rocker. I mean, Rocker's still a quality pitcher and a great closer, but they were able to add 2 pieces, giving up 1.
Breaking ball on the outside corner.
That's a filthy pitch right there. The knees of Bagwell buckled on that breaking ball from Carsey. That's going to be a key pitch for him in this inning. Look at the knees of Bagwell right here. Oop, right there, you're over. It's done after that.
Another breaking ball. He left that one out over the plate, though.
Now because he's thrown 3 quality breaking balls to Bagwell. Bagwell's thinking about the breaking ball. And as good a fastball as Carsey has, if he locates it well here, he can get an out.
Bullpen has done the job so far. Steve Reed came in and retired Biggio on 1 pitch and a ground out. Gremlinger retired Vizcaíno to end the 7th on a fly ball. And now it's Carsey. Fastball, got him. A 97-mile-an-hour fastball takes care of Jeff Bagwell. And let's check in once again with Jeannie Zelasco.
Well, Mel, our baseball day has only just begun on the Fox Network. Coming up next, the Cardinals and the Diamondbacks will try to break the series tie. A game apiece as we shift to St. Louis. Miguel Batista on the mound versus Darryl Kyle. Catch it on the Fox Family Channel. Brought to you by Budweiser. Mel?
Thank you, Jeannie. And the Atlanta bullpen has retired all 3 batters they faced.
After 3 straight breaking balls, the fastball elevated. Bagwell cannot catch up with it. Great pitch sequence to Bagwell by Carsey.
Strike 1 to Lance Berkman. Facing Carsey for the first time. Carsey, a former #1 draft pick of the Toronto Blue Jays in 1990. Traded to Oakland in 93. Missed all of the 95 season after undergoing the Tommy John elbow surgery. Lined into left field. Surhoff for the second out. And that wasn't easy. Ball might have been knuckling on him or sinking. Tough play for an outfielder.
Berkman's a good fastball hitter. That's a perfect swing right there. And that's all you can do is hit the ball hard somewhere. You can't guide it, but right at Surhoff and left.
Darrell Ward gave the Astros hope with a pinch hit 2-run homer in the 7th, but since then the Braves bullpen has slammed the door. Moises Alou up with 2 outs and the base is empty. He doubled in the 6th. Carsey starts him off with a breaking ball.
That's a wise choice. Alou, one of the best fastball hitters in the game. And one thing about Alou, unlike Bagwell in that first at-bat of this inning, you can throw him as many breaking balls as you want, but he is still going to be looking for his fastball.
Leo Mazzoni on the phone to see how Smoltz is doing. Doing quite well, thank you. 10 saves, 11 save opportunities, and 2 here in postseason.
How about the luxury of having a guy like John Smoltz? He will be a free agent at the end of this season. You've got a guy that can win you 20 games as a starter, or a guy that can save 50 for you as your closer.
And Bobby Cox was telling us before the game he would like to see Smoltz come back as a closer. Fastball too high, 2-1 to Moises Alou.
Well, Bobby said the reason for that is they can really monitor exactly what he's doing. Sometimes as a starter, you get out there, you start throwing a lot more sliders than you normally would throw. Smoltz has had the elbow problems. But out of the bullpen, as a closer, the hard fastball and the split finger take some of the pressure off the elbow.
Fastball line foul, 2 balls, 2 strikes to Moises Alou. John Smoltz got out all of last year after undergoing the Tommy John elbow transplant surgery. It's amazing. A lot of guys come back and throw harder after that surgery than they do before.
That's the case with Steve Carsey right now on the mound. He's blown 2 fastballs right by Moises Alou, and Alou is a very good fastball hitter.
Breaking ball, top foul. We talked about Alou early in the count looking to pull the ball. When he has 2 strikes on him, he'll spread out and just look to hit the ball where it's pitched, cutting down in the swing. So he's been a good 2-strike hitter. Breaking ball hit in the air to center field, and no problema for Andrew Jones. Bottom of the 8th coming up with Atlanta leading 4-2.
The television series on Fox is brought to you by Budweiser with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you. By Hyundai, with the freedom of America's best warranty, the Hyundai Advantage is standard equipment. And by the United States Air Force.
Back in Atlanta, Turner Field, the Braves were out on the verge of closing out the Houston Astros, but Atlanta manager Bobby Cox has more on his mind than just baseball. His sister, Joy Rogers, is in intensive care in a hospital in Birmingham, Alabama. Suffered a cerebral hemorrhage, unfortunately. When the Braves came home yesterday, Bobby drove 2 hours to be with her and came back today for the game. But I know that's on his mind, and we wish Bobby well and certainly his sister the best of good health.
Well, no doubt Bobby managing with a heavy heart, but he told us before the game his sister resting comfortably in the hospital.
Julio Franco hit a home run in the third inning. He's also flied out and grounded out, facing Octavio Dotel. 4 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Braves. 2 runs, 6 hits, and no errors for the Astros. Not only is Bobby Cox's sister resting comfortably, so are the Astros bats in the series. The Astros in the ninth will have Vinny Castilla, Richard Hidalgo, and Tony Eusebio coming up, undoubtedly to face John Smoltz.
Well, you look at the majority of the teams in the playoffs right now, and they've all got great pitching, and there's been a lot of low-scoring games in the playoffs so far.
Line drive into right field, and a base hit for Franco. He's 2 for 4. The Braves trying to pick up an insurance run in the 8th.
How do you hit a ball that hard to right field? A right-handed hitter, no slice whatsoever. That ball was hit like a left-hander. I mean, Julio gets the fastball away and just drops the bat head. What a great addition to this Braves team. And he is just happy to be here. I talked to him before the game, and how you doing, Julio? I'm great. I'm back in the big league.
Here's Chipper Jones. Takes a fastball for a strike. Chipper has singled, walked, and flied out. Merv Retman, the Braves hitting coach, was saying before the game that if he had to pick one player with the game on the line to hit for the Braves, it would be Chipper Jones. Jimmy Carter talking to Chipper moments ago. 0-2.
That's power against power right there. A good hard fastball by Dotel. And a powerful swing by Jones.
Chipper Jones, the first third baseman in Major League history to drive in 100 or more runs in 6 consecutive years. What consistency. Pretty good pitch, called the ball as the Atlanta fans began to chant, sweet, sweet.
Chipper Jones, one of those guys that in spring training you can write down 330 home runs and 100 RBIs by his name, and he'll accomplish that.
And he hits one high in the air to right center field. Hidalgo racing back and kiss it goodbye. Chipper Jones with a 2-run homer. Jones undoubtedly put this one away. 6-2 Atlanta. His second home run of the postseason. He hit one off Billy Wagner in game 1. And now hits a 2-run homer off Octavio Dotel. Here's Brian Jordan. Takes a fastball low. Well, Darrell Ward got the Astros close with a pinch hit home run, but Chipper Jones has widened the gap with a 2-run homer, and it's 6-2 Atlanta. Well, it's no longer a safe situation for John Smoltz.
That is the 10th home run that Chipper's hit in the playoffs. He's a big-time player. Strike called, 1-2.
One of the writers here in Atlanta described the Astros' faces in the dugout following Game 2 as having more long faces in the front window of a pet shop.
That's cold.
Jordan strikes out. Here's Ned Yost, the third base coach of the Braves, reacting to Chipper Jones' home run. I think he's happy.
Ned Yost talked that bad boy out of the yard. It makes you wonder, though, what Dotel's thinking out there. First two pitches to Chipper Jones, he flew the ball right by him. Then he came back with a little backdoor slider that, Chipper didn't swing at. And then he hung another slider. He really got beat with his third best pitch there.
And Larry Dierker coming out to the mound. He's going to make a pitching change, so that'll be all for Dotel. He'll give up a single to Franco and a two-run homer to Chipper Jones to make it 6-2 Atlanta. I love sweeping the Houston Astros and advancing in the playoffs. A team that has dominated the 90s, winning 10 consecutive divisional championships, a World Series in 1995. They've had 5 trips to the World Series, highlighted by great pitching. Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, Tom Glavine. What a dynasty they have built here in Atlanta with manager Bobby Cox, general manager John Sherholtz.
A lot of the faces have changed, but the core has been there. The pitching staff. Bobby Cox, in his second tour of duty with this Atlanta Braves organization as a manager, took over as general manager in '85, and they unveiled the 2001 banner today.
That was this morning. Ron Pallone in relief for the Astros, throws a first pitch strike to B.J. Surhoff.
Cox came back in 1990 to manage after getting the farm system in order. John Sherholtz took over.
Pop fly headed for the left field line and foul.
And they have worked wonders with the Atlanta Braves organization.
Julio Franco has 2 hits today, including a home run. What a pickup he's been.
Every year it's someone new for the Braves. It's been Terry Pendleton years ago, and Pendleton won an MVP. He helped them to get to the playoffs. Sid Bream, Otis Nixon, Galarraga.
Dotel being consoled, Rod, as he gave up the 2-run home run to Chipper Jones. Bouncer to short. His Caino to first. Well, you remember in Game 1 when Larry Dierker brought in Mike Jackson rather than Dotel. Jackson gave it up, took the loss. Writers came in to question Larry Dierker after the game, and he was quite short with them. He said, if I said I put in Dotel, you'd ask me why not Mike Jackson. Check the record. I wonder what he's going to say after today's game. The writers will probably say, why didn't you bring in Mike Jackson?
Well, it's not been a good series for the Houston Astros, and their manager has definitely been second guessed.
Foul ball, strike 1 to Andrew Jones. Got a piece of the catcher, Tony Eusebio. Well, last year the Astros failed to make the playoffs. An off year. There were rumors that Larry Dierker might be fired, but he had a year left on his contract. The owner, Drayton McClain, bought him back, and after a slow start this year, they began to play real well, led by young pitchers like Roy Oswalt, who would have pitched tomorrow had there been a Game 4. Tim Redding, the veteran Shane Reynolds, Billy Wagner back healthy, Craig Biggio back healthy.
They had a young kid by the name of Carlos Hernandez, a left-hander, come up throwing the ball really well, too.
Cutter inside for a ball, 1-1.
The future's bright for Houston. We talked about that Oakland A's team and their young pitching staff. Roy Oswalt, it appears he will not get an opportunity to pitch in this series.
Breaking ball in there for a strike. The Atlanta Braves, who struggled at home this year, 40-41 at Turner Field. They became the first team ever to have a losing record at home and win their division. Fastball too high, 2-2. Ron Pallone, veteran left-hander, acquired from the Colorado Rockies earlier this year. The Rockies signed him as a free agent. Used him as a starter early in the year, but he was hit hard and then traded. been pretty effective as a reliever in Houston. Herb Redmond and Bobby Cox. 3-2.
Yeah, Valone was part of that four-man left-handed starting rotation that Colorado started the season with.
Mike Hampton, Denny Nagel, Valone, and Brian Bohannon.
That's one of the reasons why the National League Rookie of the Year, Albert Pujols, started the season in the big leagues because St. Louis was starting the season in Colorado.
Moises Alou back to make the catch, but Chipper Jones has hit a 2-run homer. Atlanta is up 6-2 and headed for a sweep. More outs to sweep the Houston Astros. Smoltz, who has picked up saves in each of the first 2 games at Enron Field in Houston, has become a dominant closer. Coming into a standing ovation. Vinny Castilla leading off the 9th. Smoltz starts him off with a breaking ball for a strike.
Smoltz a smart man. He throws very hard. 57 strikeouts in 59 innings pitched this season. But Vinny Castilla hit a home run off of him on Tuesday on a first pitch fastball.
A hanging breaking ball fouled back 0-2. The Astros are in their 7th postseason series. They have lost them all. Coming up, Game 3 in the series between the Diamondbacks and the Cardinals. Presented by Budweiser, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. And Smoltz blows Castillo away with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
You know, as a starter, John Smoltz only got up to 94, 95, which is fast, by the way. But now that he is closing games out, I mean, he is hitting triple digits from time to time.
Bionic man with that new elbow. Oh, brother, that's nasty. 98 to Hidalgo.
Here it is, hit it.
As a starter, you got to pace yourself a little more, but he's only going to work an inning, maybe an inning and a third. He can just blow it out.
And then the adrenaline that he's worked up.
99 miles an hour.
He's loose, too, because we saw him a couple of innings ago riding his bicycle down there in the bullpen, working up a lather. He's ready to go.
Breaking ball fouled off, 1-2. Well, the setup man did their job. Steve Reed retired the only batter he faced. And did Mike Remlinger, Steve Carsey with 1 scoreless inning. Bullpen did not give up a hit. And now Smoltz is trying to close it out. John Burkett, the starter, who went 6 1/3 innings, had a shutout before giving up a home run. See ya. Hidalgo strikes out, and Smoltz with a chance to strike out the side in the 9th.
It's not often you see a closer out there with 3 above-average Major League pitches. The fastball gets up to 99. He's got a great slider. You can't hit it. And he's also got the forkball working for him.
Grant Osmus is going to pinch hit for Tony Eusebio. This is an interesting choice because Eusebio is 4 for 11 off Smoltz. And he puts it in play, a high fly ball to center field, and that's going to do it. The Atlanta Braves have swept the 3-game series from the Houston Astros. Braves pitchers held Astros hitters to a 207 batting average. Braves pitchers with a 1.73 ERA in the series. The defense was superb, only 1 error. And the offense hit .303 with 6 home runs. It's deja vu for the Astros again. And more postseason success for the Atlanta Braves. Headed for the LCS and the winner of the Arizona-St. Louis series.
Braves are very, very confident coming into this series. A lot of people picked Houston to win. But that is definitely not the case, and they are a happy bunch down there.
Chipper Jones, who hit the home run to put the Astros out of their misery. 6-2 Atlanta wins it. They